Okay, better open the meeting. Was present. Have we got any apologies? Or I'll do that in a minute. So first of all, welcome everybody to the meeting and thank you for attendance. Acknowledgement for country, the Mid-Murray Council. Oh, you normally do this, don't you? Okay. Would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional custodians of the land, and Nagadjuri, Nagawang,
Mandri, the Nawal, the Nangaraku, the Narkat, the Narrandjeri, and the Pyramic peoples will help you out there.
Of the Murray lands. That's a lot of, and waters. It is upon their ancestral lands and waters that the Mid-Murray Council meets and operates, and Council pays respect to elders past and present and their spiritual beliefs that are continuing importance to those First Nations peoples today. Council further acknowledges that the contributions and important role that First Nation peoples continue to play within the community. We extend our respect to any peoples in attendance here today. Thank you. Apologies, everybody's present apart from David, who's an apology, and staff. It's noted. First of all, confirmation of the minutes for the last meeting. Has anybody got any issues with those? Could I have somebody move those? Peter, Mandy, thank you. All those in favour? That's carried, thank you. Any declarations of interest to be made? Nope. Okay. Deputations, I suppose. So we'll go for the report. Item 7.1 is the budget review. Paul's not here. You're going to do the...
Yeah, Paul's absent for the meeting.
Okay.
Just the budget review for March 2025. Overall, there's been a $405,000 decrease in loans from the December budget review, and to note, probably that doesn't equal the total adjustments, and that's mainly because we had some balance sheet adjustments. The largest one was adjustment to trade and other receivables. It was deemed that was too low. And the December budget review that we had at 3.9 million. So we pushed that up to 4.7 million to be in line with basically what happened at the 30th of June 2025 to be comparable. So that was an increase of $831,000. So that's probably one of the major items that should have that I wanted to just improve. Mentioned there, and obviously a favourable adjustment amount. So once again, we've been able to deliver further savings, and just to follow on, our budget projections do actually base from the March budget review as well.
Comments?
Can you just remind me, have we received any FA grants this year? Did we get half and half at the end of, I can't remember. Do you remember?
I just think there's any, let's just have a look at I'll just quickly look at the adjustments.
I think the year before it was all,
I think we find that with they try to give us...
They paid it late,
So they try to give us
30th of
June, but it actually fell in July. So let me just have a look at just confirm.
This year.
Yep.
We might end up getting a bit early, and
we'll get something this financial year as well. They always do it.
Possibly.
I think the year before it was all, and then I think...
Yeah.
So, sorry, there was a timing. So if you looked on page 13 of the agenda, which is the uniform presentation of finances, about halfway down, there's a timing adjustment for the financial assistance grant revenue, and there was $2.737 million, which was given in advance. I think it may have been the previous year where we didn't have that. So, Yeah, so you can see the audited statements is directly the opposite, where they actually have failed to.
Because they paid the year before early and this one late, yeah. They still got a surplus.
Comments, Peter?
I was just going to. There's an issue that crops up throughout the papers, I think, even in the long-term financial plan, and is the indexation of the assets. There's a little bit of contradiction throughout where we talk about, and I noticed that we haven't got one this year. We haven't got any change to the revaluation of the assets. Is that consistent with what we're trying to do with the?
Yes. So I don't budget for an increase of the assets, but we do increase our assets. So the asset indexation has only just been finished basically last week, and it should have been done earlier, but it's just over basically lack of resources. So once that's been applied, so I can probably update the balance sheet for the adoption with those higher amounts. So when we project in the budget, we always increment our depreciation charges.
Okay.
Yep. And what we've been doing with our financial asset register. So if an asset has been revalued in the financial year, obviously we don't have to index it. If it was revalued 1 year, we'd index it 1 year. Yep.
Yeah.
So last financial year we did a catch up where we had several groups of assets which the last revaluation occurred 4 years ago. So we actually indexed it 4 years to do a catch up. Yeah.
Okay.
So
the depreciation charge would automatically go up with the revaluation, would it? Is that the way it works? Mechanically?
Yeah. So because what we're doing is incrementing the accumulated surplus on the opening balance, we're indexing the cost and the accumulated amount. So obviously depreciating works on a percentage basis, so then the cost amount is higher. So yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Comments anyone wants to make? No, you're right, Peter. Okay. So we have a recommendation that the budget review be received and adjustments made, which result in a 701,000 lower deficit now, and borrowings of 4.676 million, and recommendation that these amendments be reflected in the annual budget. So is somebody happy to move that? Thanks, Simone. Seconder. Peter, thank you very much. All those in favour? It's carried. Thank you. 7.2, which is the long-term plan. Carry on with your...
Just through the chair, the long-term financial plan has been once again reviewed. We've used quite an extensive model where we put in growth and looked at all our various different drivers, probably what's reflected in the long-term financial plan, and also in the annual business plan, there's been savings with the implementation of our LED street lights. So the savings of those are reflected in the annual business plan and into the long-term financial plan. Also, we've still got 2 years of contracts. Our fixed contract with electricity supply. So basically, that results in only a 1% increase of electricity in the next 2 forward years. Other than that, the other drivers have been the enterprise bargaining agreements, which have been set by council as far as employees' charges, and the other increase has been in Dave's area for his reorganisation, which has got three positions. One other thing which has been included into the long-term financial plan is an allocation, and it's not in the report, and I'll include it in the report for council for the upgrade of the corporate system. So the additional costs will be a total implementation cost of $275,000. And we're negotiating that at the moment to be spread over a number of years, up to 4 years. And licensing, there'll be an increase of licensing of about 62% as well. So that will include our finances, payroll, which we've deferred for a number of years. I had a budget there of $80,000, properties and rates, customer service portal, our permits and licenses, infringements, cemeteries register, our septic register, our purchasing and contract management, and our asset and register finances. So, our corporate system, we're basically using the same software which was developed approximately about 25 years ago. And we've had issues with a lot of our system controls, and in the later one where it talks about a follow-up on our purchasing and a lack of controls there, system controls, those will be overcome. So
I'll just clarify, the dollars are in the budget, but it's not mentioned in the report.
it's not mentioned in the report. So what I'll do is I'll mention those
So
figures
the
in the
deficit
report.
doesn't change.
No, that's right. Clarify
Yeah,
that. It's just the commentary hasn't been included. The figures are in there.
Okay.
Yep. And then there's an amount for our record system, and I've also allowed resourcing some additional staff, so of $160,000 over 3 years, and that would be used to ensure that if any additional work needs to be done, like data cleansing, events such as the review of the chart of account, that we can actually get some resources in to help with people. I don't want a repeat of what's occurred in some other councils. So when Alexandrina changed their software, basically their finance department got burnt out and they did have one person left after 2 years. So I think it's, when you're asking people to work a full-time job and then you say we need an extra 20% of your time to implement a new system, I think it's only fair and reasonable and practical that we allow some additional resources. And like that resources will change depending on the type of module which has been implemented, whether it needs someone to be data cleansing or it needs someone with a finance background to help someone with the review of the chart of accounts before implementing it.
It's fair to say that a system that's 25 years old is quite clunky, and most people are.
So the language it was written in is visualDB.net. So that fell out of mainstream programming probably about 10 years ago. So and
What's wrong with it?
Well, and Microsoft
When
won't.
you've got a Clive, we lose Clive a lot.
So Microsoft won't do any upgrades to it, so it's not compatible with the latest plugins, and artificial intelligence. There's no way to integrate that, and not only that, there'll be savings in the future where it'll be basically all cloud-based software. So all the servers that we've got, I think we've got 4 physical servers sitting in that room down there. So we'll reduce that back down to at least half, if not 1 server. So, and then that will make basically lower maintenance. We won't have to do that next generation renewal. Our business continuity will improve because basically you only need to have a laptop and access to the internet. So.
Do you have any questions, Peter?
I did. Look, I'm just going to. So, the big issue I think is inflation. Obviously, is going to be a key factor. And I noticed that the rate increase is expressed as CPI plus 1.74% plus growth, of course. But does that mean that if inflation comes in at 4.6%? We'll have a 4.6 plus 1.74 2.4% increase in
As-
It's based on the next year's projection.
Yeah, so through the chair,
Correct, yeah.
so traditionally we've used the RBA forecast. So when we set this budget, we used the February forecast for 30th June 2027, which was 2.9%.
Yeah.
The May economic forecast has just been delivered.
Yeah.
Now they're forecasting 2.4%.
2.4?
Yeah.
Seriously?
That's because of the bounce and then down.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's actually a 0.5% reduction in what this is based on.
Right.
Well,
So if we implement that,
Yeah.
then the CPI will be 0.5% less than.
so the RBA have forecasting 2.4% for next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was amazed as well, but I think you'll find.
Don't forget, you're going to have costs that you're already bearing and probably paying.
Yeah, correct. That's the issue.
Which they won't. You won't get the money back.
No. So my thoughts are that the RBA will be ruthless with their increases, and a lot of analysts have talked about, well, they're just hanging on the cliff of recession, like pushing it too far. But I think they're more worried about stagflation than recession. So I wouldn't be surprised every 6 weeks that they put it up 0.25% to really just nail it. So
that's interest rates, but I think the big issue is what's going to be the impact on costs. And I'd be staggered if it's 2.4%. Well, especially if the Middle East goes on for much longer.
So we've budgeted for fuel increases and product increases in the current budget. So we're trying to absorb those risks there. But yeah, it's going to create challenges. And so the other flip of the coin is this budget's based on 3.1, I think it was, Clive. And now it's 4.8 for the March quarter. So there's a 1.7 decrease of what this last happened this year, this current financial year.
So the RBA they've changed their latest forecast for 30th June 2026 to be 4.8%. And we set our budget at 3.1, which is 1.7 lower. So
sorry, I'm confused now. Okay. Sorry. So the 4.8% is
there's RBA forecast CPI for 30th of June 2026.
Right.
For the year going back.
This current year we're just about to end.
So they've revised the annual.
But they're still forecasting forward 2.4 for
the next 12 months
for the new financial year.
Wow.
So like to go from 4.8 to 2.4, exactly half.
Yeah.
They're going to put some screws on to try to slow.
They're going to be ruthless with the increase.
I mean, what can they do? I mean, putting interest rates up doesn't really.
Yeah, it's just like
the Middle East. It's got the fuel costs going up in the Middle East, and fertilizer and everything. Bitumen.
And that's where we budgeted for those increases, or we'll have to make some decisions on some projects, which Dave's starting to consider. I know a number of councils have looked at that to say, look, if this continues and prices of bitumen keeps going up, then we're not going to be able to do reseals or some of the projects we're doing. So it's uncertain times.
So just through the chair, what do you think? What do you think is their rationale for announcing it to be so low for next year?
Because they're going to put the interest rates up so high.
Okay.
They put it up 0.25%. They'll put it up 2 or 3 times in a row.
And we're clearly looking at not
6
spending
weeks.
as much. If you're looking at jobs and stuff, so if everyone stops spending,
they deliberately want unemployment to go past 5%. They've said that. So they want to stop demand. So what's the easiest way to do that? Higher interest rates, small business say, I've got a shed, one out of every 10 people. So 1 out of 10 people, those 10 people become unemployed, so they don't spend as much. Yeah.
Wow.
And look, from our perspective through the chair, some of our wage, so the inside staff is not linked to CPI anymore. So that's a 2% increase next year. I think it's 2%, Clive, which I negotiated out of the linking. What wasn't as successful with the AWU staff, Dave, but there's a cap on that, so won't be the full 4.9%. It'll be a lower level, so there'll be some savings there. And then, we will look at our investment. We have budgeted for our strategic priorities, and some of that includes wage investment, roles in different areas of the business, and we may have to make some decisions about that depending where we go. But if we follow correct me if I'm right, correct here, Clive, correct me if I'm wrong, if we adjust our CPI to the 2.4, then our 4.74, is that what we were predicting? Or 4.64, sorry?
4.64.
Yeah, will come down by 0.5% if we flow that through using the RBAs.
Gee, it's risky, isn't it? It's just very risky.
Certain types, yes.
Through the chair, this makes me really, really nervous. I know a lot of our ratepayers are struggling. I was talking to one at the football the other day who said they've never not paid their rates before, and now they're $1,000 behind. They're paying all their other bills and not worrying about council rates, because once you're behind, you might as well just not pay them. We have gone in the last 4 years, I think, from $1 million in unpaid rates to now $2 million. So I think we need to really look at that ASCOSA stuff and focus on constraining cost growth. When I look at the long-term financial plan from 2 years ago, for 26-27, wages are 11.3 million and materials and contracts 11.3 million. Then I looked at last year's wages are 12.3, so they've gone up $1 million for the same year, and materials and contracts went up $500,000. And now I'm looking at this one and wages are 13.1 million. So 2 years ago, we've added $2 million for the same year prediction. Like, how does it go up $2 million in 2 years of long-term financial plans for the same year? I just don't understand how that, and materials and contracts are 11.5. So they've only gone up a couple of 100,000. I would have thought if your wages are going up, your materials and I just need that explained as to why they've gone up so much, because we're not showing focus on constraining cost growth if we predicted 2 years ago that our wages would be $2 million less. I know there's a few more jobs, but I just can't see how that works. Also, the growth, we've got 0.95, whereas our long-term financial set plan says 0.5. I don't think at this time, when we're looking at inflation and people not paying their bills, that we take the extra as a benefit. I think we need to give that back to the ratepayer to make sure that people are able to pay their rates. And also, full cost attribution. So last year, we had in the waste $201,000 of full cost attribution. In the swims, I could only find $39 per connection, but from memory, it was $300,000.
Yeah, but I think council agreed last year to phase that in over.
But we're still charging the swims system, aren't we?
Well, yeah, that's whether you're charging it or whether you're recovering it. I suppose that's probably not. We
should be recovering it. Like, once we know it's there, we should be. So that's $500,000. Are we then giving that back to the general ratepayer? Because, if my rate through was $1,000 2 years ago with $100 waste and $200 swims, now we've added $39 per swims connection and $10 say for the waste. I'm paying $49 more. My $1,000 should have gone down $49 because I'm collecting it as a user charge now. I don't think we've done that. So we're double dipping last year. That needs to be corrected this year so that we're not, I don't mind not going back and taking back that double dipping, but that's something that we should be using to bring that rate down now, because we're double collecting. The reason why we brought in the full cost attribution was so the general ratepayer doesn't pay, but they're already paying. Yeah.
So, I suppose whether that transition going back and forth, you're still going to look at the overall position of council. Yeah. So
I just think we need to look at our constraining cost growth more. Yep. And what we need and what we don't need. Right now, if people are going to lose their jobs,
you'll have to look at services, cutting services then. Yep.
Or staff.
Well, that's services.
We don't have them. Yeah. We don't have them now. So what can we do to make sure that we're...
So that's about council making decisions on strategic priorities.
I just don't understand where the $2 million...
Yeah, we need to look into that.
So what happens is, in reality, we we budget for positions, but then they don't get filled. So then they get backfilled with contractors. Then that's why you always see contractors increase all the time and wages always decrease, because what's happening is either we're going through agency people. I'm not sure how many Dave's got at the moment.
That's where I would have thought the materials would have changed, but the materials hasn't changed, but the wages have gone up.
That's what happens in actual not budgeting. That's what happens in. So what happens is, you're budgeting of wages like that and your contractual. And then what happens is because you haven't got those, either filling those positions or you're doing it by contractors, then your contractors go up, and then in reality, what happens? Your wages go down. So it's it just gets transferred from one area of expense to another. So do I budget for a number of vacant positions and then increase contractual materials appropriately?
We're saying that there's, just pure absolute layman's terms. Are we saying that there's no slack in the system to allow us not to have that amount of money in the budget for staff?
Sorry.
So we budget for internal labour, but then in reality, because we can't fill the positions, they become contractual or through agency staff. So at the moment, who you've got Michelle, you've got Glenn. It's just two people on the inside.
And one on the two positions on the outside.
So you got 4 positions on the outside.
If you're asking, can we cut our wage bill? So we can cut our wage bill through those positions that we're budgeting for that haven't been filled.
Yeah.
But the council needs to make that decision strategically. Yeah. So if 3 of those positions, for example, are what council's already approved for the infrastructure field services.
And I'm fine with that. We need that. I was talking to a work staff the other day that said he could do with 4 more men on the ground or people on the ground to help. I get that, but I just don't get where $2 million of wages have come up in the same year, like how that happened. 20% more wages.
I need to understand what you mean by the same year.
So if I go to the long-term financial plan from 2 years ago and look at 26, 27, we predicted $2 million less wages, but the rates are pretty much similar. The materials are similar. Like, where has $2 million come up in 2 years?
So does that take into account the fact that when we, from original budget to budget reviews?
Yeah. So the outside workforce are hard to budget because they just work anywhere. So what we normally do is we're just taking increments from the outside and then we add on what our inside are and the position know. So, that amount of balancing of the outside wages is really quite hard because we don't have a distinguishing code between inside staff and outside staff. That's, like other systems allow that, and then you can kind of balance those up. I can go through the process of balancing the wages and salaries for the outside staff, but it'll take a considerable amount of time. Yeah.
So again, not being an expert at all, but jumping ahead to sustainability savings in item 7.3, which is just relevant, I think, to this conversation. I think my understanding was that not a lot of the non-recurring savings, of which this year there's 400,000 odd. For this year alone, that's the difference from 2 years ago. I understood that was part of it was vacancies not being filled, but what you're now saying, if I'm right, is that those vacancies are in effect filled by temporary staff.
Not all
contract
staff. Governance.
Yeah, so Dave's
economic development, not so. And I think community, there was a few vacancies. Correct. Yeah, so we've got vacancies that haven't been filled.
Yeah,
and we don't. They are budgeted for because they've been identified as strategic priorities as part of delivering the strategic plan. Yeah. Council can make those decisions, but not to go with that.
I think if we're going to have another 2 million of unpaid rates in the next year or so, we have to really think about what we can do to make sure that we're cutting back a little bit.
So there's 2 things you can do. You can do what we've just spoken about, or services.
Not much you can cut back. We pretty much only do.
And that's Clive and I spoke about that.
We'll sell some more land, and
this is the first time that we've invested in, say, a corporate system because we need to. Because talk about
that's a no-brainer. 350,000.
We don't in the last few years, 5 years, we haven't done discretionary things. We've cut off all the new shiny capital, new capital investment to just do what we need to do. So realistically, it's okay. We're not going to progress those areas which are in the current strategic plan. That's why they've been budgeted for.
So I suppose once again, because the RBA has dropped 0.5%, and then you've mentioned the 0.5% in additional growth, so that adds up to a percent on what we've got in the document here.
When you look at the whole long-term financial plan, the future years are looking good. So if we could just take it slower, so that people aren't hurting now.
Look good though.
Yeah. Because then you can add $2 billion in a few years' time to something else. But if we don't slow down, I predict we're going to have another. And I said it a few years ago. I'm sure we're going to double in unpaid rates, and that's exactly what's happening. So I'm just really concerned that if we don't cut back, you get that guy who couldn't pay this week, so stops paying, full stop, and we sell his house in 3 years' time. Just think we shouldn't be setting people up.
$2 million is unpaid rates at what point?
Well, Clive gives us a little chart, which is the 1 year, the 2 years, and the 3 years plus. So we started selling properties this year with 3 years plus, but since then, it's doubled pretty much since we started looking at
we
that.
had this discussion last meeting, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse if unemployment goes up.
So is there any further work that needs to be done on debtors then to analyse those and see where the...
we're doing some work on that.
Yeah. That would be useful, I think.
So I suppose through the chair is where does the committee and obviously council will make the final decisions want to go.
Yeah.
Interested in the perspective of
the people who don't pay rates. We're biased.
No, but just the external viewpoint would be kind of helpful here, because I don't have answers any more than I expect Clive or them to, really. It's just a nightmare.
Community better than we do.
I know they're struggling. Every second door I door knocked, they're struggling.
Yeah.
SCOSA have made the point about cost efficiency, and they've done that. Nearly every council that we go to. But I noticed that in the report we're a bit sort of, I wouldn't say wishy-washy, but some of the information that we put in there is not specific in terms of what we've done. So I guess there are two ways you can go. You can look at internal efficiencies, but it comes back to a services review in terms of what does council have as its priorities, and what services do they want to not proceed with.
For example, one of the things that we've been talking about for the last 4 years, and we're on it, but it just takes its time, is, if we dispose of some of the buildings assets that we've got, which they're over 400, whatever, it's not actually the money you get for the building, it's actually the maintenance and depreciation you benefit from, isn't it? But that's just going to take a long, long time, and it probably won't be enough. I mean, I don't know if there's any light at the end of the tunnel with this budget coming up in terms of funding to councils, but we'll just have to wait and see.
So through the chair, I can give you an update on that. So we've got 9 parcels of land that have been identified for revocation, and they're with the minister. We've got 4 parcels going to the open market in the next week or so. So that's 4 parcels. Then there's an expression of interest on 6 parcels to the adjoining property owners. So we've identified 10 parcels that we can sell. 4 are going to the open market because they're more significant and they'll attract more interest. And 6 are realistically only going to be of interest to the adjoining property owners. So there's that 10. And we've engaged with all the community groups that lease or have an arrangement with community buildings for discussions, and they're progressing. We've heard back from around 10 thus far, not a lot of interest or willingness to take on the building or purchase the building or change it. So, but we're working through that.
Yeah, so there's ones that are being used, but they don't want to take on management of, and then there's ones that are underutilised, buildings that are underutilised, and you're talking land for sale. So and the minister took 9 months to decide the first tranche.
Yeah, and that was when they were put under pressure too. So. And there's been a change of minister.
Snail's pace stuff.
Still good mates.
It's not fixing the underlying structural issue, though, is it?
No.
It's just.
And we know that.
Yeah.
We
So
know.
those properties are just land. There's no appreciation on those.
No, no, that's what I was talking about, buildings.
And
Not,
really no maintenance either. Yeah.
yeah, no, I was talking more about the buildings.
So we can collect rates as soon as we get offload them.
Better to pay off debt rather than use that saving to spend on operating. That's the nature of it.
I guess the other issue is that growth brings with it additional costs. So again, whilst we tend to treat growth as a bit of a windfall, it's not really, because we are increasing costs elsewhere.
So, over the years, we don't factor in the growth into our additional expenditure. Other councils would. And we don't use LGPI, which is 0.3% higher. So even ASCOSA picked up on that and said, oh, you've got a quasi efficiency levy because you only use CPI, not LGPI. So, some of the people's budgets that they're working on are very thin, so they're just been making do with them. And I suppose the interest, the interest or the inflation that we'll have for the current financial year, that will flow on to us with contracts which are linked to CPI, in the forward year. So kind of will get hit. It doesn't, because we have like the anniversary of the contracts, they do take 12 months. So they look at, so we'll have some which are linked to the end of March, which apply from the 1st of July onwards for their pricing there. And we're having some contractors which don't want to continue their contracts. They're saying they want to walk away from them. And we said we'll try and find someone else who wants to do that work, and they can't find anyone else. So, and I'm not sure that's a combination of because they've signed up under a certain pricing scheme, and they've got trouble with labour, and like solos come to us trying to get increases because of they're having trouble with drivers as well. So, and trying to have an increase over and above their contract. So that's
a more straightforward question for you. Is the consultations coming up just after the council meeting? Is it the public consultation on the budget and I think it's from the 20th, isn't it? And we meet on the 16th. Is that right?
I don't know exactly. Yeah, usually it's the Wednesday after.
So will the forecast CPI be in those figures for the public consultation? Will there be time to do that?
I haven't got enough resources to redo the budget.
Yeah.
But you can premise that in that, council have always used the CPI, the latest CPI as per SCOSA, and at adoption they will, and say that there has been a movement in the CPI.
Well, in my opinion, my advice for the chair, it's always better to consult on a higher figure and then reduce it, because we've listened. It's what we've done on the previous years because of the adjustments.
Yeah.
And we just wouldn't be able to turn around.
No, that's fine. That was just my question. That's okay. I'm not saying you must do it. Oh, I expect you to.
Yeah. Can I just ask about the renewals into this is the long-term financial plan thinking about now, not just next year, but have we indexed the renewals along the lines of what we were just talking about with the valuations and everything?
Yep.
Do we feel that we've got a good number in there, I guess, in terms of, because renewals is a fairly key figure?
Yep. So we've once again always used the latest forecast to forecast the index all our asset management plan renewals, and or if there's some upgrades where councils has chosen to take them on, such as stormwater for the development there, we've indexed those as well.
Okay, right. So they're all done. Thank you. Yes.
I'll just ask about years 1 and 2. You've got as capital subsidies and contributions in the operating. There's an unusual line in the thing. What's the explanation.
What's
for
the
that?
source for that?
Yeah.
So this, so at the moment we're out for public consultation on a new methodology for CMWS,
Yep.
and that's based on because of the assets we're gifted to council. We've used the like an annuity calculation. Unfortunately, because we're some of these schemes are 20 years plus old, some about 25 years, a lot of 25. If you start an annuity now and they've got 3 years of $250,000 the next 3 years, your annuity just becomes a ridiculous figure. So what I've done in the budget there, we do a capital call on those owners for those large amounts, so they would actually have to contribute.
So that's what that capital income is.
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And that's only. I think I set that on a portion of about 50% of the total expenditure, and that was just to represent. So that should be there for 2 years, is it? It's only for 2 years.
2 years,
Yeah. So after that point, I thought that there should be
Watch out.
an accumulation of their funds, so it should be able to absorb that. So that's the reason of that, and council has previously done that as well, where they've required an injection of funds, or even on the start of the funds where they had a connection fee, we either ask for an upfront amount. So just with capital renewal, if there's not enough money in their scheme fund, we would actually ask for an upfront contribution. And if they couldn't pay that contribution, then would offer normally over 10 years financed amount, obviously with finance built into it, and that would be included in their normal CMWS fee. So
you're moving from a point where people made their own contributions, in 10 years' time, they would say they would put the capital in to do an improvement or whatever, to one where you're building that into your fee structure.
Yeah. So
and then you'll take responsibility for doing this.
So council so by going by SCOSA guidelines, if council owned those schemes, we could just charge depreciation. As a recovery rate. But because they're gifted,
it's messy.
Well, because they're gifted. So, and one of them was from the association. You say, well, we just paid for it, and you're going to charge. You can't charge us depreciation on the item we just done. But SCOSA says it's fair and reasonable to say in the future there's renewals to occur. So what I've done is taken each scheme. First of all, indexed forward the amount. Then I've calculated annuity on each of the years. Build up a capital contribution and portion.
So they vary by individual scheme, is that?
Very high, some are very high. Yeah.
I think that's a good way to go. I think.
And look, we've got a couple of schemes such as Kawira and Truro, where that works quite well. But you've got Brenda Park, which is 25 years old, and I can't remember, they've got over $1 million in the next 10 years. So when you work out their annuities, so I'm kind of saying into the annuity system, because that's SCOSA and that's fair and reasonable, and people say they accept that. That's a good way of building up the fund, and also just lost my thought. Build up the fund, but then in reality, because in the short term, they will have to make contributions on top of that, and that's those two figures which represent it.
Okay. Yeah, other questions?
Well, I mean, it's fairly minor, given, notwithstanding the discussion we just had about affordability and whatever. We've got a $26,000 deficit in this year of the long-term financial plan. Can we nudge that into surplus just to politically make it look a little bit better, sort of?
Well, if I drop it 0.5, it'll probably get larger.
Oh, okay. Oh, the deficit will get larger. Oh, of course, yes.
92,000.
92. Like, so a lot of our expenses go down, but some of them are fixed. Like, I can't drop electricity because it's only 1% increase already. I can't drop employment by the EBA increases because they're set by the EBA agreements. So I'd have to see, to push it through the system, see how it comes.
Yeah.
But it's a near break even.
Yeah.
I would say it's as a percentage. It's not much.
Still depends on when grants going to be received and all that kind of stuff.
An interest rate you got at 5.6%. Is that real, given, again, the discussion we had about potential increases? Is that a realistic number? What are we going to look at?
That would have been our current one prior to the RBA.
CAD. This is on the CAD, isn't it? This is floating.
Yeah. I can just give you an update. Real time. The current rates. Current cash advance to venture is 5.6%.
Right.
We got much on cash advance. I mean, cash.
We're moving towards CAD, aren't you?
So we are not using cash advance to venture at the moment. We've got money in the bank. We've got some fixed term loans. A number of them are financed through either the Manning Waters evaporation. We've got a community loan for the church here, which did a wellbeing centre that's been financed. Swan Reach Caravan Park that's been financed. I think there's just two loans that we've got, which is to do with probably Udunda Road and the partnership program. What was that through COVID? There might have been some money left over from that. Yeah,
The loans are very modest.
Yeah. Oh, they are. Yeah. Oh,
That's what they
it's
were
a
4 years
strong
ago.
position to be in, really.
Yeah.
I thought you were moving towards CAD, but that's good. Anyway, okay.
So even though my treasury policy says to have a mixture of at least 25% of one or the other, we just because our capital expenditure is behind. We've got less loans.
Yeah. It's showing most of it as CAD in the balance sheet.
I generally think it's a pretty responsible budget, notwithstanding capacity to pay issues. Yes, if there's room to adjust those, but even if you take 0.5% off or something, it's not going to help people. There's not much it's going to
It
affect.
just shows we're trying. And
shows
I
we're
know
trying, yeah.
even the people, even from the consultation last night, which is all people that own 2 homes,
Yeah.
they're struggling. The way they came out and, expected so much from council, they're struggling. So they're the ones that will go, do I pay for my shack this year or just pay Salisbury Council? That rate's cheaper, I'll just pay them. So.
Yeah.
It's challenging when they're sitting on a $1.5 or $2 million, second home. So through the chair, there's opportunities. Obviously, we'll get some direction from council.
I think in the briefing, council agreed that we want to see it as tight as we can, as in the rate rise as small as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't think it changed since the briefing. It stayed the same.
Yes, it has. Yeah. But that's with the positions that have already been sort of agreed to or part of the strategic priorities.
Yeah.
And
without the forecast CPI. Without it.
Without decreasing it, that makes it a smaller rate rise, but it will have an impact on the budget.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet. The worst is to come.
No.
So. Okay, all right. So we've got a recommendation here somewhere.
As a recommendation, do we want to highlight our issues to council? I guess it's at the moment it's just a receive a note. I just wonder whether, as a committee, we should be doing a bit more on that sort of
Yeah, so you could add, if there's some pertinent points around the concern for the affordability.
Risk to inflation, I think would be useful to do that.
Support that.
Is acknowledging the uncertain times?
Yeah, we're some creative words.
I think the issue of affordability is relevant.
Maybe it's a comma at the end of the we don't have it on the screen, but I've got it in front of me. So, the Audit and Risk Committee recommends to Council that the draft long-term financial plan be approved to be released for public consultation in accordance with the Council's public consultation, noting concerns around affordability and the economic
the global uncertainty around inflation
and cost increases.
Yeah.
That's something.
And double dipping of full cost attribution.
Double dipping, is that the word you want to?
That's what we're doing.
You still got to look at the bottom line. It doesn't matter whether you're moving income or expenditure.
What we did is just an artificial rate rise, basically. We've not told them that we're collecting it somewhere else, and we've left it in their rates. So we've basically increased rates for all the users that are using it without being honest about it.
It's not about being honest though, because it might have been costs might have gone up by more, and so the rate increase might have been more if there wasn't reductions across the whole.
Yeah, so that's what you should do is be honest and say the rates are going up 1% because we've given a rebate for full cost attribution. So it's not telling them. So we've actually put the rates up more without telling them exactly what it is.
But and then
Shouldn't increase the net.
No, it's
amount.
just it's
But you should have taken it out. So if you're going to collect $1 million from the waste in a different way, then you take it from the ratepayer.
It's a separate rate.
Yeah, so we're now collecting it twice. We never gave a credit to the general ratepayer. You should have given a credit and then gone, well, we still need to add another 1% to the rates because of X, and you haven't.
The rates could have gone up by more, and so it's not as if the money's the same.
But we're collecting another percentage, so we're collecting 200,000 more from waste and 300,000 more from swim. So we've got $500,000 more money in user charges. It should have come out of the general rate.
Not this year.
Well, the bins one, definitely. Like when we brought the bin charge in, we took that money out of the rates to say now we've got a user charge. So same thing when we added full cost attribution, we should have decreased the rates and added it to the user charge.
But we have an increase of 1.7% of this financial year, but that comes in the wash of it as well. The full cost attribution is shifting the recovery from one side to another, but you still got to look at the bottom line of the sustainability of the council. Yeah.
So also trying to reflect the real cost of the service as opposed to the subsidised cost, basically.
But now we're collecting it twice. So we just added $200,000 onto our rate without telling anyone, basically.
And if we hadn't done that, we may have had an increase by more than 1.74%.
And that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to say, we're collecting it through user charges. So the general rate's gone down, but we've had to increase it because then we can explain to the government we've had to keep increasing our rates, whereas now that's hidden.
That's why I don't think we're double dipping. I think that in the wash it comes out, and this might have gone up by more, but it hasn't gone up by more because we're taking that money and we're getting it from somewhere else.
Yeah, but we are double dipping.
I don't think
because we were already collecting that money from every ratepayer, and now we're going, well, only the handful of ratepayers that have got waste are paying. We should have given that money back to the general pool that we were collecting it from to start.
But it may well have happened by when you're looking at what the increase would have potentially been.
More. Yeah.
This is where we have to give it back and then say, well, we have to increase rates by 0.5% because council can't cope on.
You're talking transparency.
Yeah, it is about transparency, and it's about showing the government that we've had to put our rates up by X amount, whereas that little amount, and I'm not talking little because 200,000 is what that 1%, and then if you add the swim stuff in, if that's another 3, that's like a 2% rate rise that is kind of hidden that no one would ever know it happened. So we can't explain to the government that we have to keep putting our rates up because it's just, we've put an extra user charge on. So But I do remember when the bins were brought in, we literally, the rates were 0.54 and they went down to 0.42 because we took that money, that $1 million out of the general rates and we put it in as a user charge. So same as full cost attribution, if we're doing that, it has to come out to then go in a different way.
And at the same time, the primary reductions, their rates dropped by 11%. And I had no phone calls ringing me up and thanking me for that.
No,
but
we didn't either, don't worry, Clive.
Those have occurred, and they were bad decisions by previous councils to say to give a free service, and let the general ratepayer pay for those as well. Yeah.
So do we just recommend that there's further analysis of the impact of
cost attribution? I think that's good. Because like I said, if we then go to the government later to say we've had to put our rates up X%, we've literally taken that out and no one knows about it.
Do we have just read out the recommendation we got so far?
So the motion as it reads, and then comma after policy, noting the members' concerns in relation to affordability and the economic global uncertainty around inflation.
Yep.
As well as, noting the members' concerns in relation to affordability and the economic global uncertainty around inflation and cost of living, comma, with further analysis to be recommended, on the full cost attribution implementation.
impact of
The impact of full cost. The impact of full cost attribution.
Is there another point after that?
That was it.
Did you say in members' concerns
in
relation to?
Well, that's right. If people are happy with that, there's nothing else we need to look at. Then, okay. So I'm happy to move that. As proposed, Peter, thank you. Is there a seconder? All those in favour? That's carried. The next item is the budget. Have the same discussion.
Yep. Item 7.3 is through the chair, the draft annual business plan budget, which is placed in the long-term financial plan as the first year. At the present, it's got a budget operating to set for $26,000. Or taking into account 509,000 capital renewal income, it'll be an underlying adjusted operating deficit of about $5,335,000, or about 1.62% of council's total income. Just to highlight that this budget has been based on the model of the February 2026, that should read Reserve Bank CPI forecast of 2.9%. Yep. So once again, and it was noted in the report that councils are prudent to consider any CPI forecast variations, and we now know it's 0.5% less. That will be released by the bank in May 2026 prior to the finalisation and adoption of the budget. So, we haven't got any more to add other than that.
Do you got any questions?
I was just going to, can you just explain how when we talk about a 4.64% increase, how do we actually achieve that? Is that in rates revenue? Is that what we're looking at, the increase in rates revenue? How do we have the mechanics of how we actually get to that point?
Yeah, so previous long-term financial plans, we forecast it was originally year 10 to have a surplus. So over the period of years, we were actually tracking actual CPI versus CPI which was used, and then we're making an adjustment, and then it got to a point of time where we're saying, well, what we should be doing is trying to adjust the rates over a period of time or to keep to that same target year as got closer. So instead of doing adjustments up and down and looking at the past, we were actually doing projections of what increase do we need over CPI to still get a surplus in 2026, 27.
I was thinking more of, your valuation increases. We've got the rate in the dollar. And how do we get to a point where it's 4.64% increase with all those variables? How do we apply it, in other words? So do we say to people, we're going to adjust the rate in the dollar, and so if I'm a ratepayer and I'm sitting there with a valuation that's gone up by 10%, so
Which is higher than the normal, the average, which is higher than the average. Yeah.
is that higher?
Yeah.
But how do we achieve the 4.64%?
So it's on average.
So it's your pool of money. So if last year's rate pool was $1 million, this year's is 1.0464.
But do we adjust the rate in the dollar to
Yes.
achieve?
So then we go, how do we get that 1.4% of $1 million? We then divide it by all the valuations, and that gives us the rate in the dollar. So quite often,
Right, okay.
the rate in the dollar is going to fall, even though we're increasing rates by 4%. So the valuations have increased. So I'm paying a bit more, you're paying more, but the house next door has been knocked down, so they're paying less.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
4.64 would be on average.
Yeah.
If your valuation's gone up more, then you'll have
You'll pay more.
yeah. But your rate increase
So
might
we
be.
don't double dip. If everyone's house went up 10%, our rates are still only the rate that we're collecting is only going up 4% from last year's.
So I give the rates officer a target,
Yeah.
and she forces the dollars back out.
Right, okay. Right, okay.
So it's
Got
a
it.
pool of revenue that is required
Yeah.
to do what we need to do.
Yeah.
And then the rate in the dollar is worked out from there by spreading across the burden across all the ratepayers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as through the chair, Simone has just mentioned, generally our rate in the dollar has decreased.
Most
Yeah.
years, yeah.
And some councils,
Half hours, a quarter.
yeah.
Well, yeah, some councils
And Murray Bridge is 25% higher. That's my claim to fame.
Murray Bridge used to say, we've frozen the rate in the dollar.
Yes.
And saved everyone money, and basically their valuations might have gone up 6%.
Yeah.
I explained to one of their councillors the other day, this is where you need to look the income from this year compared to the income from last year. That's what your rate was. She's like, oh, I never knew that.
Okay. Council was the other council that did that too. Yeah. Well,
Where'd their CEO come from?
sorry.
Where'd their CEO come from? Murray Bridge.
Or he went from Adelaide Council to Murray Bridge, and then he went back.
He taught them the tricks.
All right. Good. Any other discussion on this? I did notice on page 86 the minor thing where the minimum rate is to 2025-26 for both the last year and the forward year. So it just needs to be changed to 26-27.
What page was that, Peter?
It's page 86 or page 21 of the actual plan.
Haven't been to, but I've got two others. Page 111 talks about recycling being looked into. We add a line about the possible closure of transfer stations. I think it's been in a previous motion that when we do that, that happens.
Yeah, I think I emailed you about that, didn't I?
And also in there,
What about saying that yours was in the table of?
Are you talking about the same thing?
page 111, it just talks about that we're reviewing recycling, but it doesn't talk about transfers. Like it says we've got that many transfer stations. I think we should be clear that
Yes.
if we look at recycling, then that might not stay the same. And also public conveniences, it talks about us having 42 public conveniences, but is that on the list to be reviewed, like for our sustainability? Is that this year's review? Public
Toilets?
convenience? Yeah.
Not
No?
toilets.
Oh, I thought we were looking at.
Not toilets.
Okay.
Dave?
We're looking at doing a building assessment, I suppose, but where the toilets come into play would be a decision of council
Mhm.
as to whether
I
we
thought
do
it was on one of
restaurants.
our sustainability things.
I'd need to check.
Mm.
So we're definitely doing buildings.
If it is, can we throw it in there just so that people
Have you sent, did you say you sent me those or
I've sent you something about org structure and something else.
Okay.
Nothing.
just have
major.
you captured them? Basically, just so we make sure that they're changes to the actual annual business plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Other comments on this paper?
It just sort of annoys me that our landscape levy's gone up by more than CPI again. But we've sent a nice letter to the minister, so
About accountability, you know.
yeah. Oh, and waste levy too. You know, the waste levy's gone up 4.1%, which is higher than CPI each year.
This is the challenge I have through chair around state government does one thing,
Yeah.
and then councils are heavily scrutinised, rightly so, for every single dollar or every single percentage increase, and the landscape levy continues to go up well above
CPI,
CPI.
yeah. Even though the Act says it can't.
And they'll state government will come in and say your rates are too high.
Yes, yeah.
And then
much
we
more
have-
sympathy there.
We have the privilege of paying for, or there's costs associated with collecting the
Yeah,
landscape levy.
Yeah, it doesn't even really cover the bank charges.
Yeah. All grumble.
Yeah,
All right.
frustrating.
Okay.
It's a bit surprising that, given the papers that we've got, that SCOSA found us to be, was it potentially unsustainable?
This was 4 years ago.
Yeah, so when's the
Very
next?
big
when's the
change
next
this
review?
year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, depending on if we're in the first tranche or not.
should be. Yeah.
So so they're finished their.
They'll be reviewing this year's finances.
Yeah.
And it will look great. We'll turn it around. And it'll be the next mayor that gets to take credit.
We hope so, given the hard yards and the hard
Yeah.
decisions council has
I'd be
made.
very surprised if they had a critical
Yeah, I
perspective.
think it will
This
be
budget's actually
sustainable.
very good.
It's very
Yeah.
good, yeah.
I commend
Yeah,
it.
the debt levels,
Council's done.
renewals have been done.
Well, yeah, $20 million, I think, a few years ago, the debt levels were projected at.
Oh,
I
okay.
think maximum 3 million, Clive-ish.
Yeah, that's what it bounces around. Yeah.
No, they were pretty good overall.
They were quite tight. I mean, I think there's the risks are so prominent in our current environment. It's very, very hard to predict.
Mm.
The actual will be the budget, basically. I suppose.
Projecting 26% increases.
Sorry,
Peterborough?
Predicting 26% increase.
are they?
So what Kiron came out with was it 6%?
Yeah, 6.1, I think.
Okay, so we've got a recommendation that this annual business plan budget be received, and the ARC endorses the draft 2026 business plan and budget, and recommends that it be approved for release for public consultation in accordance with the policy.
Should add those slight changes that we added to the last one because it is also to do with that year.
It does apply to this, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
So
does.
if we want to,
Do you want to repeat them or?
yeah, I think we should probably.
We'll just copy, if you're comfortable, the same.
Okay, with that, somebody prepared to move that. Andy, thank you. Peter, thank you very much. All those in favour? Thanks.
You've got
Carried.
David Whitbread chairing.
Hard not to learn from you.
Hopefully David's not going to the Middle East. I think that's why he had to change his flights.
Okay. So, item 7.4. It's the valuation schedule review. Who wants to talk about that? Is it Is that your
Glenn is online, but I can
Okay.
assist.
Ben, do you want
do a briefing on this? Where is he?
Coming alive. Camera on.
to
Can you
go?
hear me?
And
Yeah,
Thanks,
the
Glenn.
schedule is based on the 10 years of when the revaluations occur. So the current ones are being completed or in the process of, and next financial year, 26-27, is for bridges and major culverts for revaluation.
Pretty simple. So, we've got any questions of Glenn?
It's like good progress to me. I think it's all in.
That's good. I don't have any questions. If that's the case, would somebody like to move the recommendation, which is that wherever it is? Just the report be received. Yep. Simone, seconder, please. Happy to second it, as is done. All those in favour? It's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Glenn. At a 7.5, which is the City of Mewis. This is who wants to talk about this? Glenn as well.
Sort of.
You're right. Yeah, go.
Through the chair. Basically, we've done a revision of the community wastewater management's asset management plan. The previous one, as Clive has said earlier, a lot of our swim systems are anywhere between 20 and 25 years old. And our asset management plan, when we reviewed it, was like for like replacement. What we've been able to implement is the implementation of automation and telemetry to bring everything up to speed. To give you an idea, call out over Easter, 3 times trip to Morgan to flick switches. So what we're looking at doing is going through a process now of actually being able to invest in the swims to be able to bring them up to speed so that we can actually do this stuff electronically and being able to do it remote. So that's the main concept of this asset management plan.
Okay, Glenn, do you want to add anything else?
No, just we had the 15-year rolling capital works program, the asset plan. The asset plan's about 18 months old. So we've just extended that by another 10 years to 25-year plan. So incorporating some of that new technology as well, Dave just spoke about, which will be addressed.
We're spending about $1 million over 9 years. Is that the bottom line? So
yeah, there are some there are some capacity reports we still need to do on some of our swims, which will give us a bit of an idea on the I suppose the flows that go into those areas, and we don't have that data. So the flow meters initially are the things we're looking at putting in, and then being able to record and actually have flow rate data to see exactly whether our swims are working at their optimal rate or whether they actually need further improvement. Some of the swim systems we've had assessed, like Clive said, Brenda Park, we're up to $1 million now on the basis of the flow rates that are going in there, which is probably unaffordable for them. So we actually need to make valid decisions on where we're at. So we are looking at expending some money in that area.
Through the chair. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was thinking more of the SCADA. So the SCADA is going to cost us about $1 million.
Yeah, through the 29 schemes, but we're actually targeting the schemes that are about 50 connections plus.
Yeah.
Because they seem to be their problematic swim schemes. So that's what we're looking at targeting first. We're only going out to quote, so we've had some ideas on what the level of investment is going to be and how we're going to implement that.
Yeah. Okay.
And each scheme is obviously independent of each other.
Yeah.
One of the points last night at the consultation on the swims annuity methodology is that shacks that are designed for 2.4 people. That's what the swim system is designed for, and they're advertising for 20 people or sleeps 20 for a weekend and getting $1,600 a night on Airbnb, and then the swim system can't cope.
And on peak times, people can't pump into the swim scheme because there's just that much backlog of water. So they're the issues we're going to try and deal with and try to find an optimal balance between what their occupancy rate is versus what their treatment processes are.
So just through the chair, we had a public meeting at the Arcvale site to a number of Checo owners, obviously interested with the annuity type of a fee structure that we were doing. And to say that people were interested in this attachment too would be an understatement. Probably the one criticism I've got of it is we've not allocated the SCADA and the ACDC switchgear to each scheme. They'll probably that'll be deemed to be a bit of an issue. So what is it? $1 million over how many schemes?
No, so
20 schemes or
21 schemes.
21 schemes.
It's so expensive.
So that's nearly like 48,000 each. So it's a considerable amount to hit each scheme. And we haven't forecasted to any of the schemes. We've just had it on as a one-liner.
And the bottom, yeah.
We'll have to work that through, Clive.
Yeah, I think that needs to be scheduled, even if it's an arbitrary schedule.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people will say that you didn't say that Brenda Park would need $48,000 or $50,000. That'll come back.
That has the potential to save them money.
Efficiencies.
Yeah.
Over a long period of
like
time.
Over a period of time.
3 calls out would have cost that Morgan
Correct.
swim.
Yeah, and so that question came up last night about what are you doing to be more efficient? And that, well, we're investing in that to be able to not have to pay overtime, vehicle expenses, etc. 3 times over a weekend.
Do you think we could have them in that chart by council meeting, Clive, or too hard?
Do you have to ask infrastructure?
No?
It's not my calculations.
I will take them on notice.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good if we could have it.
Yeah.
Because, that's what they're going to come and look at.
Yeah. And I can redo my annuity calculations when those figures are on each scheme. Yep.
We'll take that on notice.
And if the other spreadsheet that you had up on the screen could go in council agenda too, just because that was a nice, easy to read one where you could see each scheme over the 10 years.
Yeah. And once again, that big figure was the SCADA, and that was all down the bottom.
If that could be brought into that would be great.
Yep.
It's very short timing.
that's on page 172, where it says, so this is the executive summary, it says projected and planned renewals expenditure. And it says there's a funding shortfall of 188,000 on average per year.
No, that's only a snapshot in time. Yeah, that refers to a previous long-term financial plan.
So we've dealt with that, basically.
So as soon as I get the information, I'll put it in. So there is no shortfall.
Right.
So,
Okay.
So I think that needs to be qualified, what long-term financial plan they're talking about.
Okay.
And I never did like that statement because it always comes through to say that it's underfunded. So basically, it sounds like we're financially planning incompetent.
Yeah, it just struck me as being a bit alarming, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's reaction that you do get, and it's based on old financial information. That statement.
Okay, thank you.
If that's sufficient discussion, is somebody prepared to move that, the recommendations which should be received and
Well, I was just a bit.
you want to make a change to the?
Well, I don't know. I was a bit uncomfortable with the wording because I don't feel I've got technical knowledge to endorse the what is a technical sort of asset management plan. I'm not sure we've got the skills to actually endorse that to council.
Maybe you're endorsing the action of having the program updated or the Appendix A updated.
I think that's a bit more.
No, sort of what it's saying, that it recommends the council that the updated, it says to be endorsed by council.
Yeah.
Endorsed by council subject to updating.
Updated Appendix A, right. And be endorsed by council. I don't know really. I don't know what. Do we feel that we've got enough the skills and knowledge to be able to endorse a rolling 10-year?
Yeah, well, that's what the committee has done.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know everything about the
asset
budget and that really. I mean, it's we're reviewing it and making comment on it, but
Yeah, that's okay.
if we haven't got any comments, I think we just endorse it.
Okay.
That's my view. Okay. So can I have someone move that? Andy, thank you very much. Seconded by Simone. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Glenn.
Glenn,
6.
me, I'll do.
You.
Okay.
Always fun coming to an audit committee meeting, isn't it?
Especially when your items 7.4 and 5 after the budget, the long-term financial plan. Should have put you down at 9.
Okay. So Ben, did you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so review of the audit risk terms of reference. So Council adopted a new code of practice last year for procedures at meetings to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of meetings of Council and Council committees. The terms of reference have been reviewed to ensure they align with the code, and the proposed amendments are listed in the report. There's also some clauses in relation to regional subsidiaries, and if required, the Audit Risk Committee's review of the documents that they produce, because the regional subsidiary, the MLGA, doesn't have an Audit Risk Committee, which Council has endorsed, but it's only if required. If that is an issue, then that will come to the Audit Risk Committee for consideration. It's changed format into the new corporate.
So through the chair, probably one of the changes will probably affect 1 or 2 of the current independent members. The amendment being that reappointment will be now for a maximum of 3 terms. Yep. So for sure that would, and that's standard through all our terms of references. So that would affect David definitely, and I'm not sure. You'll be 3 terms. 3. This will be your 3rd appointment, will it?
That I'm currently in.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. So then your next term would be eligible. I thought that was just that's probably the biggest number 5, the sitting fees. Previously, we had a report which would go up to council each year. That's deemed to be inefficient. So we've reverted back to how the previous terms of reference, which was it just increment annually.
I just had the 3.7.9 highlighted where Ben said it's this MRLGA. So I just don't understand what that means. If council has exempted the subsidiary from having an audit committee, the functions that would have been performed by the subsidiary's audit committee, what?
What page are we on there?
Page 236. It's just the wording. The committee shall perform the functions. Yeah, to me that doesn't really make sense.
Actual 3.79, is that?
Yeah.
So council has exempted the subsidiary from requirements to have an audit committee. The functions that would, apart from the exemption, have been performed by the subsidiary's audit committee. So
Committee shall perform. I don't know, just.
Does that mean we'll get reports from a
if required? Yeah.
But it doesn't say if like it.
So the committee shall,
And that subsidiary has 8 councils, so do all 8 audit committees get the same stuff? Like,
they're meant to, so that's part of, if those other councils, which I'm sure they have exempted them from having a audit committee, then this committee, on our behalf, would perform that. So they would provide a base to council and say, yeah, we're happy with it.
so probably just name,
Yeah, yes, we do. Yeah, so
see how the committee shall oversee, the committee shall whatever. It just needs some words in front of if council. So the committee shall perform.
So the committee shall, comma, if council is exempted a subsidiary from the requirement to have an audit committee, the functions that would, apart from the exemption, have been performed. So actually,
So then we're performing them. So it doesn't tell you that we have to perform them. It says if council has exempted,
Shall.
and the functions that would have been performed by the subject audit committee. It doesn't say, like the other one says oversee, like it doesn't say perform functions that would have been performed.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
It doesn't direct us as what to do.
So you're saying that the wording should be something like that the committee shall perform
Yes.
the duties of a subsidiary in the circumstance when
Exempted.
they've been exempted from having their own audit committee.
Yeah, it's just because it's not specific as to what we have to do. It just basically says if you've exempted them, there are functions that have been performed. It doesn't actually tell you what to do. Whereas all the other lines says perform an annual review this, consider that, oversee that.
Certain action.
Yeah.
Doing work.
So, yeah, okay. So what do you?
Just look at the rewording of that.
Yeah. Just needs some words before, like perform the action, the functions that would have been performed.
Okay, so I'm sorry, yeah, I'm somewhat confused. I get what you're saying because I'm saying
230 of the markup.
I get what it is meant to do, but it's not clear that it's meant to do it because it's missing that. Like if you look at all the other ones, it's got that oversee, consider, perform, review. It just says if there's a subsidiary and there's a requirement to have functions.
251.
you actually want the functions.
Yeah, like you just need to know what do you have to do.
It's just, I'll copy it.
Functions that would have been done.
Yeah, but that's not clear. It just says if the council has exempted a subsidiary,
It reads
the
the committee
functions
shall.
that would
if.
have been performed. What? Then we would perform them. Yeah.
So it would be like the committee shall, where
Clause number.
the subsidiary, where the subsidiary has been exempted from having a committee,
Subsidiary from the content.
that role will be taken on by this committee, in effect.
Exemption would be performed.
That doesn't.
I think you're saying, you think it does, and it's just a wording issue.
I get what it's meant
Just a
to say,
wording
but to
issue.
me it clearly doesn't tell you that you have to perform. It just says there might be some functions.
I'm sorry, yeah, what changes?
You just need at the start, perform,
They have to, if they exempt from having
If,
one of their
like,
own.
Yeah.
a doing word in
Then it
front,
becomes
like,
responsibility of this committee.
consider
It
review.
is fair. Yep.
But the wording's a bit clumsy.
It's literally is it perform, shall perform, comma, if the council exempted a subsidiary from the requirement to have an audit committee, the functions that would, apart from the exemption, have been performed by the subsidiary's audit committee.
Yeah.
Or
It's very messy, but
it's just clunky.
Yeah.
I struggled with the words apart from the exemption. I'm not quite sure what that meant.
Because probably the audit committee can't give the exemption because it has to come from council. So that's the only thing we can't do for that.
Oh, okay,
Subsidiary.
right. Okay, yeah, got it. Understand.
it's a very clunky sentence.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Tracy can. Are you with us, Tracy?
we need a doing word. It perform.
What are we doing?
It's going to put actions or functions.
The committee shall be responsible
Yeah.
for performing
The functions, it could just go,
Undertaking the
could
function.
just go in between, like just before the functions. It just doesn't tell us what to do from those functions. Functions that would have been performed by the subsidiaries audit committee. What about them?
Will be undertaken by this committee.
Yeah.
Council shall be responsible. The committee shall be responsible for the functions of the subsidiary audit committee.
I think that works.
Not being exempted.
Yeah, I would propose that the committee shall be responsible, comma, if council was exempted as subsidiary from the requirements to have an audit committee, the functions that would depart from the exemption have been performed by the.
I'd like to be responsible before the functions. So if it has a thing, then the committee shall be responsible for the functions.
Got that, Tracy?
No, so the economy audits, is that a new provision under the?
No,
It's not something I've come across before.
no. So that section's always been in the Local Government Act.
Is it?
It's
Okay.
just that.
What's an economy?
Yep. So council can.
Wording's economy and efficiency or something like that.
Yeah.
Not just economy, but it's minor.
The Local Government Act, an economy and efficiency.
Efficiency review, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one also under a membership. It says that the term of appointment of the committee will be from the date of appointment. Appointment of the committee members will be from the date of the appointment until the end of the current term of council. So that is meaning that all existing members of the committee are terminated at the end
Remember,
and have to be. Do you have to reapply or advertise and all that sort of stuff? It's unusual because
You don't want that.
I think
No.
in the previous terms of reference, it said that, and this is pretty much standard in other councils that I've been to, that the appointments go on, at least some of them, in order to ensure continuity is maintained due to the.
So appointments will be made for 4 years to ensure continuity is maintained due to the local government elections. However, appointment is at the council's discretion.
Yeah.
So
What clause was that in the new one?
Yeah.
The new one says that all committee members.
What's number, Peter?
Or 6.
Members
Yeah.
be from the date of appointment until the end of the current term of the council.
So I think if that should be.
Council committee members.
I think until 2 years after the end of the. Oh no,
It's the council members, isn't it? The council members.
Yeah, just
No,
saying
the
you've got to
committee
vote again.
members.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not the independent
No,
members.
it's.
Yeah,
Well, it says all committee members.
yeah.
No, it's because.
Should be the independent members. Well, that would be true for elected members.
only elected, it only needs to apply to elected members,
so-
really.
So
For
Council member
elected
is what it's called. Council member.
council committee members. So
yeah. So whether
And that would read the term of appointment for council members will be from the date of appointment until the end of the current term of council.
so the current one you
From
could
council committee member, I guess.
place council committee members, and then you could have another clause to talk about the independent members. Use the previous wording. It's basically like previously the intent was to overlap.
Which is a good idea.
Yeah. 2
So
years
Tracy,
before and after.
4.5 in the current terms of reference.
Yep.
Which says appointments for, and we'll say appointments for the independent members will be made for 4 years to ensure continuity is maintained due to the local government elections. However, appointment is at council's discretion. We would add that into as a new 4.7 for that. And then 4.6 currently will change to the term of appointment for council committee members or council members. Apologies for that confusion.
That's okay.
Good you go.
Yeah, it was a good pickup. Any other comments or reviews on that item? If not, with the changes that we've identified, there's two of them, I think.
Yeah, so I think if we just change the point 2 to say the Audit Risk Committee endorses the revised terms of reference, comma, with the 3 changes.
Yep.
Comma, and recommends the revised terms of reference to council.
Yep. Okay, someone happy to move that? Peter, thank you. Seconded by Simone. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 7. Just you.
Yeah. So 4.7 is just a review of the accounting and risk policy due for review. There's an appendix there, and we are all up to date. And with the next one being due records management policy in 178 days.
That'll.
We've got the internal financial control policy being next revised in December this year, and it was last revised in February 2024. So most of them are going for a 4-year review period. Is that?
Yeah, that's what we'd normally do, but with the caveat that if there's any change in legislation required, they would obviously come up and be reviewed.
So is the changes that we know about, so that requires that to be reviewed in December this year?
So 2 years instead of 4.
Yes.
Sorry, was that with the internal control?
Yes, halfway down.
Yep. Next revision is December 6. 6. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it should be 28 if
28. Yep.
4 years.
Yep.
Same thing on records management policy a bit further down. It's 5th from the bottom.
So what, through the chair, what I'll do is we'll just confirm when they were last reviewed to make sure those dates are right.
Yeah, it could be the early dates wrong.
Yeah, that's right. So that might be a better place that review all the revised dates.
Yep.
Last review date, and then ensure that the projected next revised date is 4 years from that, and then we'll give that schedule back to the committee.
Or if there's a reason why they're 2 years rather than 4 years.
Yeah. I think we need to see it again if you...
No, that was the general policies of the council are normally 4 years, so they get revised in the term of the council. And I know previously we've tried to front fill of those, so you get the new council, so you try and allow the new council to review as many policies as possible in their first few months.
Yeah.
Just until I understand.
Well, that's right. Yeah, good way to make them aware of the policies which are present. Yeah,
way to smother policies.
It did say on the top right their standard review period policies 4 years.
Okay,
so I'll review that, and I'll put that to the next audit risk committee meeting as revised.
She might get
to see it again. You think?
Not if there's nothing.
I think if you just
if there's nothing,
make the changes.
due, yeah.
Yeah.
think how often we do that.
Save a paper to write and read. All right, so the recommendation on that. That this report be received, subject to reviewing the dates for the internal financial control policy and the records management policy. Okay.
Actually, the risk framework, management framework's 3 years as well.
That one.
And so is the work health safety and return to work policy.
They might have different requirements because of legislation.
Yeah, it's probably.
Yeah, risk management particularly.
The work health safety and return to work policies. Thought that's driven from the local government risk scheme.
Okay. So someone happy to move that with those two. Andy, thank you very much. Seconder, Simone, thank you very much. All those in favour? That's carried. This is you, Clive.
Yep, thanks. Just through the chair, once again, this is a report just to follow up on any items which have been raised in the previous audits. And what we'll do is the ones which are deemed to be completed, they won't appear in the forward reports that we give. So,
yep.
We with on page 247, internal control matters. Talks about the current purchasing module, which is limited capacities. As discussed previously, we've got in the budget now for the upgrade of not only the procurement module, but all of the corporate system. So once that's implemented, we'll be able to we'll have a system control in place. So at the moment, what we do is the council employees have been made aware that they shouldn't be raising requisitions and purchase orders, and we'll do. I think we've done a check on that to ensure that that's not the practice there, and only in emergencies that's done. So and that's the one which is in progress. And the next one is in relation to the infrastructure asset management programs that they be reviewed on an annual basis. So I suppose what's happened is council has not done an annual one, but like with the CMWS, that was done 2 years ago. So now we've actually updated that. So that's one step closer to having them done on an annual basis. And I know, I suppose, a lot of the metro councils have got enough resources to be able to look at all of theirs, and they actually update all of those on an annual basis. So it's a matter of council working towards that and getting that improved over a long period of time. And to say that the current asset coordinator is actually just an agency person, and they're only working part-time as well. So once we get someone full-time with that position, I'm sure that'll be one of the key performance indicators in the future. And the next one, which has just been completed, is just the specialised taxation advisor of Genesis Accounting. We purchased a number of webinars there, which have a whole number of facets of topics going from GST to FBT to fuel levies, withholding tax, etc. So we've ensured and we've made available to our finance staff those webinars, and they can be either done on a live schedule, and then they're actually available for our staff on demand for a period of, I think, about 3 to 6 months as part of the subscription that we've got with them. So, and the next one, work in progress. My understanding is that Glenn, who was at the meeting earlier, has initiated a document where they will be able to actually initiate the capitalisation process. So previously we haven't had a documentation, so that's deemed to be completed. And the last one, with excessive leave balances, as reported there, SMT receive quarterly balances, and it's highlighted any outstanding ones, so that's an ongoing process.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot. Okay. Okay, has anybody got any questions or queries about it?
Good. Progress.
If not, we've got a recommendation that the report be received, so I'm happy to move that. So thank you, and seconded by Peter. All those in favour? That's carried. Yeah. Awareness of council reports. It's just there for information, really. If there's anything anybody wanted to raise out of those.
I was just going to ask about the page 259. There's a comment there that the following properties have failed to raise sufficient funds to offset the outstanding rates at the time of sale. So it seemed a bit.
Probably sold for $5,000.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So Mount Mary, there was a couple of properties, I think even less, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, no, I
or something.
can't remember. And they owed $10,000 in rates, and we recouped half of that.
Really?
And then you've got to pay the real estate fees. And,
Yeah.
So it was a loss maker. But then the hope through the chair is that someone buys that and then pays rates.
Yeah.
Have we claimed back our landscape levies on that? We should.
So we have it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably only $50, but it's just
I'll put it down as an action.
get the money back.
I think it's a principal thing.
Bugger you, state government.
You know, you've turned.
Peter, you.
No,
Okay. Okay, if that's the case, then put the recommendation was that this item be received. So I'm going to happily move that. Peter, Andy second. Thank you very much. All those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 0.9. Oh no, that's it. Just the RSC program.
Just through the chair, as always, we present this report and showing the items which are scheduled and the progress of those. We've got a couple which will be carried forward. Being an update of the financial stability report. And other than that, I think we satisfied the rest of those. And just for information, after this meeting, we actually put the report numbers in the schedule there, so they're easy reference if any of the members or general public want to go back to the specific report to see that or read that report. So,
Any questions?
So the subsidiaries, is there going to be any work on that, or is that?
There hasn't been in the past, so it just gives us the opportunity if we need to. But I don't think so, Peter.
Right, so task on it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The comments, as I'm happy to move this recommendation so that it be received. Yeah, thank you. Just a second or next one. All those in favour? It's carried. And any other business?
Chair, I just want to make a comment, if I can, just acknowledge the work of Clive. this is a massive agenda, and the work that's gone on. He's had some challenges from a staffing perspective over the last period of time as well. So, Clive, we appreciate and acknowledge the work that gets into developing those, and some late nights for us finalising the agenda last week. And to Tracy for staying back on Friday because we were finishing the last report. But yeah, I think it's worth noting Clive's commitment and contribution. Yeah. And he's retiring in a few months and will be sorely missed. So,
can I move that we don't let him? I think that's been seconded.
Is that happening at the end of the year or something? Isn't it?
End of August.
Okay.
Just seeing us through this one. End of year.
Another audit risk committee beforehand, but
that's right.
Can we twist your arm?
Do.
Very good.
That's going to be a challenge making up the.
Yeah, so look on that, we will be out to market. My aim was this week. I think Clive's got back on his PD review. We will after this meeting. So we'll be in the market. We want to hopefully have a transition if we can.
Yeah.
But that said, it is a difficult role to fill.
Yeah.
Issues to fill too.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. Sure will. Okay, I'm all right with it. We'll close the meeting and that's the next meeting. August, will you be there?
Yes.
Okay. Good. That'll be your finale.
That's right. Leading up to it.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And
Jeff?
good.
Very good.